Hello everyone, welcome back. This is part 2 of the view specific properties video. If you haven't seen part 1, the link will be in the description. Please go back and watch it. In the last video, I quickly explained the first 7 bits of this, so until here. So I explained what scale is, what these different things are. In this video, I'm just going to go over the rest of them. Let's get started. These are only just a bunch of walls and dimensions. I also added some beams and columns for the purposes of this video. You don't have to worry about how to draw them because I'll be going over that in a later video. Now the first tool we have is called temporary hide or isolate element or category. Now before I explain this tool, I need to explain the difference between an element and a category. So if I were to select this dimension, the single selected dimension, so this dimension in blue, is actually called an element because I selected it. So if I selected this wall will be called the element, and etc. But if so all the dimensions in the projects are called category because they are of the same type, and all the walls of the project are also called a category because they are of the same type. And yeah, that's pretty much the difference. Now if I was to click this dimension, and let's say I want to hide that dimension, maybe because it's too big, maybe for any other reason, I will click that and I will have four different choices, and you can see hide element, isolate element, hide category, or isolate category. I'm just gonna go ahead and click hide element, and it's now just hidden. It's not actually deleted, it's hidden. There are two ways of bringing that back. You can either click Ctrl Z, undo, which has the shortcut Ctrl Z, or you can click here and go reset temporary hide or isolate, and it's back to normal now. If I wanted to hide both of these dimensions, or every other dimension in the project, let's say you have a really big project and I wanted to hide all of the dimensions in the project, or elevations or anything, you can actually click that and go, or that, it doesn't make any difference in this case, and you can go hide category, and now every other every other dimension is now hidden. Let's say I wanted to let's take that back to normal, and let's say I wanted to hide elevations, maybe because they're just big and they just don't help me. I will go hide category, and now every other elevation is gone. There are no more elevations in the project, and you can freely work with the other bits in your project. So you can for example increase this, sorry about that, you can increase the size, you can, I don't know, flip it, and etc. I'm just gonna take that back to normal now. Okay, and I'm gonna remove the hide and isolate just to make everything back to normal. This one is actually called the reveal hidden elements, and it shows everything that's hidden. I'm just gonna go ahead and click that, and as you can see, this is hidden, but it's actually hidden by default from Revit. Maybe in an older version you will see it there, but in this version of Revit, it's hidden by default whenever you open a new project. All this does is it actually shows you where the center of the project is, and that's it. It's not important. You can go ahead, click that. I don't know, you can unhide category, as you can see from here. You can unhide it, and if you toggle that again, you can see it's there now. It shows you where the middle of the project is. I'm just gonna go Ctrl Z again, Ctrl Z until it's back, and then I'm just gonna toggle that to take everything back to normal. Now the third one is called temporary view properties. So this basically, it's like the properties palette, but it's just there for a small time, and it shows you what happens if you do that, if you do like a certain thing. So let's click this option, and let's change the detail level. Let's change the display model to halftone rather than normal. Click OK, and as you can see, everything is now grayed out. If you want to disable that, you just need to uncheck this, so click that and it's there. Actually, you can go back to halftone by just clicking that again, and it's just back to halftone. It actually even changes in the properties palette, but it's temporary, so you can change it back whenever you want. And that's pretty much this. You have different other options. If you have structural plans, you can change that. If you have site plans, maybe MEP plans, etc., you can just change them to what you're comfortable with. And if you want to check your project in different I would say views or different models or whatever, you can just change them from here and see how they look like. And you can actually filter what you want. So if you want to change anything related to plumbing, to mechanical plans, to structural plans, to coordinations, to electrical, etc., you can just filter from here. I'm just gonna click cancel now, and that's pretty much it. Now, for me to display this one, I need to go into 3D view, and to go into a 3D view, I already explained that in a past video, but I'm just gonna use my quick access toolbar and click this house icon in here, and I'm now in the 3D view, as you can see. So as you can see, these are beams, these are called beams, and these are called columns. I've only added them to show you how this one works. If I was to click that now, you might not spot the difference right away, but if you actually zoom in, you will see some orange lines in here, and you will see some blue lines in here. The blue line shows that it's columns, the orange line shows that it's beams. An analytical model is anything that basically carries something. So you know how you put a wall over a beam so that it can carry the wall above it, or direct the force toward it. That's pretty much what an analytical model is. And it just shows them, reveals them basically. Even if you zoom out a little bit, you might still spot them. And that's it. As you can see, there's now, because I went into a 3D view, there's this one now. And this one added into a 3D view, and I'll be explaining them, but after I finish the first bits, I'll be explaining them by the end of the video. So let's go back to the floor plan. And the last one in here is called reveal constraint. Now constraint is basically like two things that always move together. Like if you change something, this thing will change as well. Like right now, I constrained this dimension, which means that if I change the size of the wall, Revit is going to give me an error. I'm sorry about that. Let me just change the size like this. So if I were to actually move this one, it doesn't allow me to move it. It moves all the walls together and changes the size of this wall. Changes the size of this wall right here. See? And this is what constraint means. I'm just gonna take that back to normal really quickly. Yeah. And then if I want to see what constraints have done, I can click that, and it can show me that this is constraint, but this is not constraint, and I haven't constrained that yet. But I can click on it and constrain it whenever I want, and it's just added back now. You can unconstrain it if you wanted, and let's just demonstrate what unconstrain means. So if I change that, it actually changes. So the size of this dimension actually changed. That's pretty much it. Now, this final thing in here, I'm just gonna toggle that back. Sorry about that. The last thing here is called unlocked 3D view. So right now I can freely orbit around the 3D view. You don't have to worry about how to orbit around the 3D view because that will be in a later video. I can freely orbit around the 3D view. And if I click lock 3D view, if I was to click save orientation and lock view, okay, let's just call it 3D, and as you can see now in my project browser, there's this view which I can't orbit around. See, it gives me this you can't sign basically. Let me just unlock that now, and I can move freely around it again. That is it. Hope you found this video useful. See you again.